I hope all of you can hear me okay and that wherever you're at, you've rested well and you're watching this from somewhere quiet and safe. I've got something special for you today. I'm actually doing an interview of a friend of mine, Chef Max, and he is the chef of Dabao, and he's an amazing chef. He used to work with one of our our grandfather of fine dining establishments in KL called Cilantro. And if you're wondering why I'm petting someone here, hello. It's because, I don't know if you can see his snout. Okay, never mind. I've got B-roll coming up anyway. This is my little girl, Toffee, and she's 6.5, and she's going to be around in my videos quite a bit. So yes, back to Chef Max. She just sat on the light. Okay, yes. Chef Max is an amazing cook, an amazing creator, and Dabao is basically a fast food, street food type of restaurant with great service and a bar upstairs in the historic district of Chinatown, Petaling Street in Kuala Lumpur. He's become a friend, not least of which because I admire his work, but he's really fun too. So, please do like and subscribe to my channel, and also like the videos because it will help my channel grow. And I believe that the small messages I have, I hope, are of help to all of you, especially those it connects with, the message that it connects with. So, without much further ado, as they say, here's the interview with Chef Max. Thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, your name, what you do, and how you got into it, and yeah.
My name is Max, pleased to be on the show. I'm 30 years old and I'm a chef.
Young fellow.
How I got into cooking, how I became a chef was basically, it's very cliche. My family on my father's side, they work in the F&B business. They used to make fish balls and some yong tau foo. It's a home business.
Do they still make it?
Yeah, they're still running it, but not at
We'll talk.
not at full scale anymore. So when I was going through high school, I actually wanted to be a programmer. I wanted to study computer science, but because I didn't focus too much on my math, my dad told me no, don't go that way. And somehow watching videos of like Farron Adria and Grant Achatz doing their thing just inspired me to try, give it a shot. And 10 years later, here I am. 12 years exactly, yeah, after I enrolled into culinary school, and yeah.
Which culinary school did you go to?
Berjaya
Oh, nice.
UCH, yeah.
Nice.
The one in Times Square.
Yes, yes. And I understand you used to work with Cilantro. Tell us a funny story about you working in Cilantro. Because that one is the granddaddy of all, like, degustation restaurants in KL, right?
Yeah, they're one of the oldest. Well, when I first started off, I was an absolute klutz. I was slow, I couldn't run my section, and there was this chef on top of me. Her name's Sarah. She used to grind me every day, and
Sorry. Yes, go on.
Yeah, she used to grind me every day, and I used to take a lot of shit from her. And she realized, like, when I was angry, I would work faster and more efficiently, and so she just made it her life's purpose to do that to me every day, and it just pissed me off. But it was good. It was a good training, I would say. Like a lot of what I know and what I can do. It started off from that kitchen. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, Another thing, personally, on a personal level, I noticed you've got this really cool looking bike. Tell us about that journey.
Well, it's not a fancy bike. It's actually a GTX. When I bought the bike, it was during MCO. It was basically, Malay people call it motor sadai lah. Basically, it's a rundown bike that's been left in a corner.
Right.
Yeah, the tires were flat.
So you
the
restored
batteries
it?
were dead. Yeah, I had to do a lot of restoration work on the bike. And I did a bit of it myself, but like, to me, biking is kind of a hobby. Like, it comes together with a package of fixing, learning how to maintain, and taking care of the bike. So like, I oil my chains on my own, I tighten the chain on my own. Some brake pads, things like brake pads, I store like some stock at home, and when it comes down to changing them, I just do it myself.
That is so cool. That is so cool.
It's a lot of work.
So what brand, you told me just now, what brand is your bike again?
GPX. Yeah.
Tell me a bit about your restaurant and the inspiration behind Dabao.
Well,
Is it Dabao? Or is it a pun on Big Bao? Or is it like bungkus?
it's actually more of a pun on bungkus.
Okay.
So the founder...
Takeaway.
Yeah, the idea was takeaway, and also you're hitting a bao, which is what we do every morning. We still make our baos from scratch.
Tell us about that. God, that sounds... It is delicious. I've had it before. I've come back to your restaurant quite a few times, and I find your food amazing.
Thank you very much. Much honored. Very, very pleased to hear that. Well, the bao process normally starts about like 10 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning. They come in and they make a batch, and then we proof it. The first proofing, then we shape it up, portion it down to size, and proof it the second time before we can actually steam them into those lovely little pillows.
Lovely pillows.
So we have 8 different types of stuffings that go with our beautiful, gorgeous pillows. It ranges from pork, chicken, like a spicy chicken as well. We have a vegetarian option, a vegan option, as well as 2 seafood options.
Yeah, you've got future meat on the menu, and even that was really good. I'm actually not big into the vegan thing, but you know, your baos were really good, even the vegan ones, and the rice bowls as well. And I know Alicia, who's my editor and director, who's behind me, I think, right now. Wave to the camera. Actually loved your food as well. I understand today we're going to be lucky enough to try 2 of your dishes. Wow! That you make at home. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and also tell us a little bit about how happy they make you. What do you feel about it when you make these and you eat it with your other half?
I like to make a passata at home. That's a tomato sauce. And why I like to make passata is because it's versatile. You can use it for many things. Like, let's say I'm coming home and I'm hungry, I can have a spaghetti pomodoro in like 15 minutes. I just boil the pasta, and and I put the frozen passata in the pressure cooker just to defrost it. Slap it on top of the pasta, and there, one meal. That's why it makes me happy, because on top of managing the day-to-day chaos of running a kitchen, being able to eat at home, I think is a good thing, because my wife, she keeps pestering me about my cholesterol levels, and yeah. But I like using like TRUSS tomatoes to make my passata, because according to Heston,
Heston Blumenthal, of course.
Yes,
because,
Heston Blumenthal.
Yeah, because he's like Madonna of the culinary world. One name will do.
Using the TRUSS or the vines as a herb component in your tomato sauce kind of increases the tomato flavors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta try that. Gotta try that. And then you're also going to be making some.
Also on the side, pork chop, because I love eating pork, and it's always convenient.
That's a side dish to the tomatoes.
Well, technically it's a main. They complement each other. You got a sauce and you got a piece of meat.
Yep,
Lovely piece of meat.
Yeah.
I like marinating the pork chop in advance. So like probably I get a kilogram. I divide it into like 5 meals, and I marinate it.
Yummy.
And just freeze it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. And then you also mentioned in the restaurant the other day you use your passata to make this Chinese tomato egg thing.
Oh, right. So sometimes when I'm feeling in the mood, I make French omelets at home.
As you do.
And you know, I put some of the passata inside. I kind of stuff the omelette with the passata. Yeah, and some.
Oh my God.
Some.
Would it be
chorizo.
okay if we made that today as well? That sounds so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Cool.
We'll give it a shot later.
Ken, thank you. So thanks again, Max, for coming on to Nigel's Joys. Let's get cooking.
Yes, let's get cooking.
Ken.
Alright, so to start off the passata, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out the vines here and separate it on the side, as well as cut the tomatoes smaller. Nigel, could you help me like peel and...
Sure. May I just grab a knife quick and top and tail it? Okay. You can go ahead and use that knife too. Up to you. Grab another one if you'd like.
Yeah, we have 3.
Yes. I thought I better get out some knives because I wasn't quite sure what you needed it for, like filleting and normal chopping, cutting. I just learned that this is actually called a petty knife.
Yeah. Very petty, you know, that's why the size.
Yes! Hey, size isn't everything, dear. Don't be a size queen.
No, but you use the petty knife, you know, because you can get into small, tiny, into
There
like
you go
intricate.
again with size, right? Okay! Yes, no, I understand that actually why it's called a petty knife is because the Japanese took it from the French petite.
Ah,
That's what I heard. That's what I read or heard.
like the French petty knife, it's usually a paring knife, not so much a...
Yes, that's right, that's right.
I feel like Japanese petty knives are like very specific to like cutting vegetable garnishes and all that.
Yep. A lot more slicing and a lot more shaping, right?
Yep.
I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming. This is so amazing to
Pleasure,
be able
absolutely.
to be here with you.
Absolute pleasure. So I'm just cutting the bigger tomatoes in quarters. So doesn't matter how small it gets, you just want it to be like evened out. So like when you pressure cook it, it cooks evenly at the same time.
It sort of kind of dissolves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we're just gonna puree everything. So
Right.
like size doesn't matter. It's like home cooking. It doesn't have to be too, you know.
And you know this is just amazing. I mean, actually using the vines again to pop that flavor. But I mean, the flavor, there's flavor here, or is it just very green? Can I eat one?
I don't know if you can eat one, but there's a
only one way
very
to find
strong tomato
Oh, shit.
kind of.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
But I can see why it's a bit tough. So I can see why you need to boil it for a while and blend it, right?
We're gonna actually discard this once we are done.
Oh, so it's literally like a woody herb.
Yep. So onions, I'm just gonna cut into chunks, everything into chunks. I will need some garlic,
Okay, how many do you need?
probably like 5 cloves, but we already have
You
some
peel
ready.
this?
Yes.
So do you
No.
want me to peel some more?
Now it's fine. I guess we have 5.
Okay, so we just...
Yeah, just dump it in, and I
Alright.
will just.
Now this is the other thing. You use Chinese celery. This is so interesting.
Yes, because one thing about cooking in a pressure cooker is you're not removing a lot of the liquids from the process, during the cooking process. So like when I use something like Chinese celery, it provides the flavor, but it doesn't have as much moisture as typical celery would. So how this translates is I don't need to reduce a lot of liquid after, yeah. So it's...
Yeah, because you're going to reduce it after, right?
Yes,
Once you put it in, then you're going to reduce it again.
But generally, because we're using Chinese celery, less liquid, so it equates to like maybe 500 ml less water to reduce.
Wow!
So it's kind of a shortcut a bit. Yep.
This is such a privilege.
Alright, so neat trick, shortcut trick for me to like saute my vegetables. I'm just gonna go ahead and just start it and let it run before I put everything inside.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna lightly saute like the carrots, the onions, the garlic before I put in the tomatoes and the other components.
Okay.
So I just start with oil.
So we don't have to wait till the pan is hot. Just chuck it in anyways.
No, generally like when you hear the oil starting to sizzle, that's where I start. That's where I start the bit.
Okay.
And then I throw everything inside, cover it. Yeah.
Okay.
In the meantime, while that's heating up, I'm just gonna prepare our other herb components. Got some rosemary.
Not coriander, folks. That was coriander.
A bit of dried rosemary. If you have fresh, fresh is always better. I recommend fresh.
Yeah.
If you're using fresh, you can just pop the stems in as well. And while we're removing this later, you just take it out.
Okay.
So oregano,
Dried thyme.
rosemary, thyme.
I tend to be very heavy-handed with my herbs. I see that, you know, you're doing literally like 2-finger pinches and stuff like that. I'd be like, yeah!
Yeah, because again, I want it to be versatile. Like doing it this way, I can spin it Chinese, I can spin it Western style. You know, if I want it to have more woody herbs or notes or whatever, it can always finish with more fresh herb, and that's something I like to do, like finish with more fresh herb.
So boys, you heard it here, Max's verse. Sorry.
Verse in cooking,
okay, he's got a girlfriend.
Probably
he's got
a
a girlfriend. He's got a wife, his partner, not just girlfriend. He's taken, sorry.
Right, yeah, so you can hear it kind of like starting to sizzle a bit.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Yep.
Shall I?
Yep, it's sizzling.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw in the carrots, the garlic, the onions.
I love that sound. That sound is just, it's a song for me. I don't know. It's a song for me.
Alright, so just gonna sweat this down a little bit real quick.
I wish you could smell this.
Popular to contrary belief, a lot of people say you shouldn't use extra virgin to cook. But I feel like cooking with extra virgin, you develop certain flavonoids and like phenols that you don't get using other cooking oils.
I guess it's kind of like brown butter.
Yeah,
like,
yes.
When was that? So you're basically like what they call the Maillard reaction on certain things in there, which actually bring out more flavors.
Yes.
I guess in a way it's like that.
Yes, but like generally whenever you cook something, you're breaking down components and you're creating different flavor components, if not newer flavor components from the raw ingredient of whatever that you're cooking with. So
Sorry, nerding out on cooking.
I feel like extra virgin, if you look at like Mediterranean cooking or like Spanish cooking, they generally use like extra virgin for everything.
They do.
Right, so it's starting to brown up. So I'll add in everything else and then we'll seal it and put on the herbs and start pressure cooking it.
And how long do you pressure cook it for?
30 minutes.
Gosh, that's fast.
Oh wait. Alright, so the herbs are going in. Herbs, I'm gonna sprinkle around. This one we will blend together with everything later. The vines I'll just put right dead smack in the center in a pile so it's easy for us to remove. Then I'm gonna season it with honey.
So in goes the honey, honey.
You can use honey or like any kind of sugar you have around at home. I like honey or brown sugar because it's a cleaner sugar.
Yes, I agree.
Overly refined sugar, generally...
Try not to. Yay!
What's that? Very high, is it glycemic index or something?
Yes.
Not very good for you.
Yeah. A little bit of salt.
Some salt, yeah.
It's about a teaspoon.
About a teaspoon.
Yeah, it's about a teaspoon, a generous teaspoon.
I don't want to season this too much because generally you can, when finishing up your cooking process, you can season it again. So always season in batches and stages. That's what.
And pepper later?
Pepper later, yeah.
Okay.
Always, I like to finish with pepper.
Yeah,
So,
because if you overcook pepper, it tends to get a bit muddy, right?
Muddy, you lose a lot of the flavor compounds during the cooking process. So finishing is always like, you know, I feel like it gives a brighter finish.
And floral. I love that floral when you freshly grate pepper.
Good,
oh my God.
good pepper, yes, fresh pepper, yeah. All right, now we're gonna move on to our pork chop. We're gonna start by mincing some garlic.
Cool.
To help me peel those.
Yes, not a problem. If I can get... Oh, I'll use a smaller knife then, rather than mess up a big one again.
Mess up? How do you mess up a big knife?
Use it.
It looks like it's very well made, high quality knife.
It is. So I got this from an artisanal bladesmith in Kuala Kubu Baru.
KKB.
Yes, KKB in town. And he basically went for an engineering degree. It's called HD Ironworks on Instagram. Check him out. But basically, he went for an engineering degree in Japan, and his foster father made artisanal Japanese knives.
Oh.
So in KKB now, he specializes in making artisanal Japanese knives. So this one was a gyuto, which I specifically made for me. So he actually tweaked the shapes and all that.
So like for your hand.
For my hand, the blade was, the tip of the blade is slightly more angled. So there's a few things that he tweaked about it. And I love it, I love it. It's easy to sharpen. The blade stays sharp for quite a while.
It is very sharp.
Yeah, I've
Quite
just
sharp
sharpened them
indeed.
too.
Yep. Alright, so I'm just gonna,
Cool.
what do you call it? Smash it.
Smash it.
And do that.
Do that chef thing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put a little bit of salt to help like crush
Grind
this,
it
grind
down.
it to a puree, because we're gonna use this to marinate our pork chop.
Woo!
Yep.
Oh my God.
Just using the weight of the knife, pressing it down, and just.
There's so much you can do with a knife, actually.
Yeah, just knife, like at this volume, at this scale, of course you don't need anything big, you don't need to use a blender whatsoever, but if you're doing like prepping about 1 kilogram
Yes.
for long term, yeah, just use a blender. I recommend using a blender.
Right.
Saves a lot of time. So
Okay, so it's basically a coarse smash. Would you call it a coarse smash?
yeah, it's quite coarse.
Yeah,
So
cool.
from there, I'm gonna put some,
Salt?
some salt.
A wee bit of salt.
Just enough like to season that. Salt. Some 5 spice.
Yay! Or as Scott Chris calls it, lima bumbu.
It smells good. Is this made at home? Self-made? Or-
No, I can't take credit for it, no.
Oh,
I was contemplating it, but because I make quite a lot of suyok, I was like, no lah, too tired already.
thyme leaf.
A good pinch of dried thyme.
Fresh or dried is fine.
Yeah.
Then sugar or honey.
Yeah, a good bit of honey.
Just a little bit. It's a very Chinese thing to do, you know, sweet sour.
Sweet sour, yeah.
Sweet salty, like tiny bit of sugar when you stir fry, tiny bit of sugar.
Yeah, I think
when
it's
you
quite an
marinate.
Asian thing, right?
Yeah,
Sweet,
yeah.
salty. I remember a few years ago when salted caramel was this big thing, but I'm like, hey, hello, our Malay food, our Chinese food, everything sweet, salty for years.
Funny you mentioned salted caramel because we can actually make or sort of imitate the flavor by using Asian ingredients instead of like a salted caramel. If you make miso into an ice cream, it tastes exactly like salted caramel, but you actually don't have caramel or salt inside. The salt comes from the miso itself.
Right, so the other night we actually had a dessert when I made dinner, and we had vanilla ice cream, and New Artisan, which is an artisanal soy sauce manufacturer, actually makes this Gula Melaka soy sauce, so palm sugar soy sauce, and it's into a syrup, and it's so good on vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, it's thick. It's really
thick and
it's
syrupy.
like
It's so good.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of like normal soy sauce, commercial soy sauces like that syrupy, no.
No, because they actually naturally ferment their soy sauce. So they do have hydrolyzed ones as well, which is the commercial ones. But they do have naturally fermented ones for like 6 months, 8 months. Yeah.
So back to the pork.
Yes.
So now we have our seasoning mixed up, everything. We're just gonna toss the pork on it. Just, you know, rub it in.
Always rub your piece of meat well.
Not what you're thinking.
Exactly what you're thinking.
All right, then we'll just let that sit for at least 20 minutes to half an hour. What I like to do personally is I marinate it in advance, and then I buy the pork fresh. So I marinate it and then I store it in bags in the freezer. So whenever I need a meal the day before, I just defrost it, like put it on a plate from freezer down to the refrigerator, and by the next day it's usually thawed to cook. Yeah.
That's a really good tip, because a lot of people come back and, oh, look, if people come back and they've got their pork still in the freezer, what can they do?
Oh, well, you can either, two things you can do. One is you microwave it. The second way is use a pressure cooker.
Really?
Yeah, so I would set the pressure cooker to the lowest time setting. That's usually about 6 minutes on most electronic pressure cookers.
Okay.
Turn on the heat first, let it heat up, you sear it and just cover it.
Oh!
Yeah. For a pork chop of about 200 grams this thick, an inch thick, it'll probably take 4 minutes for it to cook and defrost.
Bloody hell!
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Pressure cooker to cook and thaw at the same time.
Yep. So yeah, you kill two birds with one stone, you get a meal in 15 minutes.
Wow! That's amazing.
So it's what I do. These are the things that I do with my home cooking, because generally, like after 12 hours of cooking in a commercial kitchen, you come home, you're tired, right? And you got 1 hour, I want to sleep, I want to take a shower, and I want to eat. So what I do is, like, you know, maybe I set up whatever on the pressure cooker, I leave it there, I go shower, I come back, food's ready. Yeah, stuff like that.
Damn!
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just for that, I'm gonna freeze a pork chop and try it next time I cook.
But use a different oil, don't use extra virgin for that. Maybe use cooking oil, because cooking oil's got a higher smoke point.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And you don't need to put any liquid or water in there.
No. When pressure cooking the pork or whatever you pressure cook, you're gonna force out the liquid, the moisture from the object itself.
Wow.
Yep.
The meat itself.
Yep.
Fantastic.
As you'll see later also, like in the passata, a lot of the liquid from all the vegetables will be kind of forced out. So we're gonna have to reduce all that while we blend the vegetables.
Okay.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you, Max.
No worries. So the passata is now done. It's been braising inside our pressure cooker for 30 minutes. And now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the excess liquid. We're going to puree everything, and then we're going to reduce the excess liquid.
Great.
On the pan.
All right.
So As you can see here, we have this lovely mix that looks like a Chinese a soup.
It smells so good.
Yep, and I'm just gonna strain out all the excess liquid. We're gonna reduce that on the pan while we are blending.
Oh, wow.
So you've got this golden liquid here that's just pouring out.
Oh my God.
We're gonna reduce that into a sauce.
I'm just seeing like it shimmer. It's so beautiful.
All right, and we're gonna take out, remember the vines?
Shall I take
we're
it
not
out?
gonna use that, we're
There
just
you go.
gonna discard it.
Okay.
And all this is gonna go into our food processor. Thank you. Right, and then our juice is gonna go on the pan. Nigel, can you help me start the food processor?
Sure.
So while that's curing, we're gonna add in some basil as well. Just a couple of leaves will do. Depending on how strong you like it. I like it mild, I like it balanced. I think that's gonna be enough.
My God. Oh my God.
And we're gonna give it a taste, see if the seasoning is good. Yeah, I would like a little bit more salt and sugar in that. Just a pinch of salt.
This is like alchemy at work.
Well, kind of, yeah. Any kind
It is,
of.
right?
I consider alchemy as a kind of ancient chemistry.
Yes, it is. It's like turning lead to gold.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay.
And we're gonna reduce this down to bare minimum. We're just gonna mix that in there.
Okay.
So this golden stock here is kind of a concentration of all the vegetables, the juice that kind of seeped out under pressure while we're cooking it in the pressure cooker.
And then
So-
we'll just blend it here again just to bring it all together.
Probably not necessary. You can just
Oh,
mix it
okay.
in. It doesn't have to be blended.
So few basil leaves, but it's so punchy.
Yeah, that's the benefit of finishing your herbs.
It is a finishing herb.
Correct. Like,
Yeah, it is a finishing herb.
but anyway, besides that, this passata I would recommend freezing, like freezing according to batches. Say
Yeah, small
100,
batches.
150 grams or so.
Okay.
So you could use for like say a spaghetti. You can make a bolognese out of the frozen passata. You can make a braise like a ragu with the passata.
How much do you use like for your omelette? Like 2 or 3 tablespoons for the omelette to fill it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's about half of 150 grams, 70 grams, 80
Okay.
grams. It's more than enough for 4 eggs. Yeah.
Yep. And there it goes. Double, double, boil and bubble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
So for the sake of the magic of television, shall we put this somewhere else and reduce it?
Yeah, sure. Come. Okay, do it at the back.
I'll put it on low heat so it
Yeah,
doesn't burn.
yeah. So we're searing the pork.
Yep. So we have our pork that's already been marinating for about like 2 hours, I believe. Yeah. And yeah, so we're
At
ready
least
to
2 hours.
At least 2 hours. We're ready to sear it. But I think if you're in a rush or something, half an hour, like 30 minutes is fine. But the more time you have, the deeper the salt can penetrate inside
Yes,
the
of
meat.
course.
So like the
Yeah.
finishing seasoning, don't have to worry
That
too much
is a
about
nice thick piece of
it. Yeah,
meat.
very nice thick piece. So we're just gonna sear it like smoking hot cast iron pan. That's the sound you definitely want to look for every time you sear something.
That's
Always.
a song. That's a symphony.
I feel like Mozart now saying symphony and
I know, right? It is. It is. You're the child genius, darling.
No, no, no. There are a lot of other people out there that I would consider prodigies versus myself.
But having said that, I think mastering basic techniques is so important.
Yes, that is for
Yeah.
sure. Every prodigy out there who's made a name for himself always start off with the basics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So right now you can
smells-
tell that it's already ready to flip because I can just
Move
nudge
it.
it around and it's moving. So
Wow, that was fast.
yeah, that was quite fast.
Yeah, this is carbon steel, so it may. Obviously, that one, the cast iron, is slower.
I think the marinade for the other one, there's a lot more less fiber and all that. So it doesn't burn.
Ah,
So yeah, I think
that's good.
That's
That's
good.
fine.
So
Yeah, that's fine.
I will transfer this to the oven. We're gonna. So we're putting in the oven at 120 degrees. It's much lower than most like beef steaks or whatever that you're broiling in the oven. But point being, because pork chop is a very lean cut, so you don't want to overcook it with high temperature. You don't want to
Right.
bombard it with too
Yep.
much high temperature. So here we have.
Is what we want.
Yep, pork chop that we already did earlier, and
That is just
it's been
stunning.
resting, and we're just gonna cut it now. We have our plate ready with some raw spinach here that's been washed, and moment of truth. Just gonna see how it is inside.
Perfect.
Perfectly cooked, still juicy.
Yes, yes. It's barely pink.
It's always important to rest your meat before cutting,
Yes.
so you retain most of the moisture,
Yeah, so the meat can actually like just redistribute.
the juices.
Yeah.
Yep.
The juices.
And basically, the water molecules inside the meat has lower energy now, so they're not trying to move around. They're not
Yeah.
trying to escape. And I'm just gonna transfer this over here. Just flatten it out.
Oh my god.
A tiny bit of our passata.
Oh, we eat with fingers. Oh my god.
Yep. Nice dollop of passata.
Grind the black pepper.
Some cracked black pepper. Maybe some salt, some sea salt. Ah, you have the good stuff. He has the good stuff, ladies
you
and
go.
gentlemen.
Malden sea salt flakes.
That's the good stuff. There you go.
Okay,
I
I'll
recommend
take
the middle.
All right. And dunk.
Sorry if it's salty.
Oh, I like salty. Oh my god. That is just divine. Or as my mum says, wow, sick to ah, sing sim Yum. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. That's just genius.